Hello, everybody. Chris is Santiago with MMA Islands. Today we have on a very special guest who won his last fight with no punches being thrown. We have on Paddy, the Pikey King Ferguson. Paddy, how's it going today?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. Big story yesterday. Your opponent Drake Lopez jumped out of a cage at Fury FC 73 last night. We saw what happened kind of cage side, but from your point of view, what went down last night?
We're the introductions just end. Everybody leaves the cage. The refs pointing at us, telling us if we're ready, and all of a sudden I hear the announcer, calling for security, and I have a perfect like lane of sight of him and what's going on, and I just see a brawl going off. But unfortunately, this is not like unfamiliar territory for me, especially being in San Antonio. I think it's almost like a tradition at this point. You run out of brisket or those hyenas get too many fucking modelas in them and things get rowdy. And it was unfortunate that it involved members of his family or like close friends. And it's unfortunate that, the young man made the decision to go out there. I saw him hesitate and then he went and I'm like, that looks like that's the fight, and it was just heartbreaking.
Mhm. How many seconds was it before the opening bell for the first round?
I don't even think we got into the first round. I don't remember. I don't think the bell even went off. I think it was just literally as the announcer had shut the door, they locked us in the cage and we're ready to actually like go to work. They just start brawling. And I'm like, it was the most surreal thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was just
Wow,
crazy.
in terms of how crazy it was. Like, do you think something in your career will top that, or do you think that's gonna be like that's actually gonna be the craziest thing that's happened to me in my career?
So far for sure. I hope it's not the craziest thing. I hope that all my fights end in the cage and start in the cage. But I hope to go on to bigger and better things than just a barroom brawl. I don't want to be known as the guy that won the only MMA fight in history by barroom brawl. Like it's exciting and it's gonna be a fun story to tell, but that's not how I want my career to end.
How many weeks of training camp did you put into this fight?
I mean, I do like 8 weeks of like strict dieting and camp, like so to speak, but I'm constantly training. There is no off season for me. I'll be at the gym here in a couple hours, working out and coaching wrestling. But it's typically only about like 8 weeks where like I'm measuring out what I'm eating and doing a little extra road work and all that. But in MMA there's a million ways to lose and a million ways to win in this game. So you can't take days off.
Mhm. How did you see the fight with Drake Lopez playing out before going to the cage? Obviously, you didn't know he was gonna jump out of a cage, but how did you see yourself beating him entering the cage?
He's like a really scrappy, boxing kid. He comes out really, really strong. And I was expecting that, really strong, heavy pressure at the beginning, wild, hard punches. But, I'm a durable guy. And so I was just expecting to just pressure, 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 and getting the finish kind of however I wanted in that, second and third round where he kind of dies down a little bit. And, that's kind of where I get to get going is that second, third round when I'm still fresh, my pressure kind of gets to you. And I was hoping to win by submission. I would have liked to get like the fourth ever twister finish. I saw that coming, but first ever win by barroom brawl is a close second.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And do you still want to fight Drake Lopez, or are you kind of moving on from that fight?
Um, I think he's got a suspension coming in his future, and I'm 3-1 at flyweight right now. So like I'm trying to move up the rankings. I'm not getting any younger. I want to get back in there with another, ranked flyweight and, actually move up the rankings because my goal in the sport is not to fight in Cowboys Dance Hall in San Antonio. I would like to fight at the Alamo Dome with some
Ooh.
UFC gloves in San Antonio. So it's like if he gets off suspension, or if he doesn't get suspended and gets a few more wins, and he's one of those guys in that conversation, absolutely. But I think at this point, I'm not waiting around for stupid like uh you know little beefs, regional beefs. He's I wish him all the best, but I think I'm kind of past that fight and I'm on to the next guy and moving up those rankings.
Did you get your win bonus or show money for this fight?
I got my show money, but I think there was a little bit of miscommunication with all the chaos that was going around. So that paycheck was just a little bit light. But we have a good relationship with the promoter and my manager. We'll talk to him and square that away and see what's going on because it says winner by disqualification. I don't know if it's going to be a no contest or I still don't even know. So if it's a no contest, I'm going to be super upset. Um, because that's just stats that I don't have anymore. But we're gonna square that away as far as the win bonus. Yeah.
I saw the video that Justin Governale, your cornerman, posted. How glad were you that he was in your corner to catch off the chaos?
Dude, that guy is an absolute like maniac. He is like, if you don't know, he's gonna be on Naked and Afraid. The guy, Marine vet, Purple Heart. The guy's a psycho, hilarious, great human being, and he's always looking for moments of like that, like the content moments. And it's like if he wasn't there, nobody would have got that on camera, and it wouldn't have been like the as interesting as it was getting that like uh view from the ground, because you could kind of see it from the Fury stream, but you don't get that full like chaotic feeling that you get when you're at. He was closer than I was to it, that was right in the back of my corner. So I'm really glad that he kind of kept safe, sound mind and was able to, pull out the camera and world star that.
I'm sure you saw the comments on our page about how do you feel about the reception online?
I like, well, I have buddies and stuff in the UFC. One of my buddies is, he's kind of a villain in the UFC, Alexander Hernandez. Great guy.
Yes,
I
yeah.
love him. He's hilarious. But man, people hate him for whatever reason. So I'm used to just like seeing the internet trolls on his stuff all the time for no reason. But to see it on like something for me, and it was like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like I didn't jump out of the cage. But people are still, they're gonna be negative, and I'm like, all right, dude, it doesn't bother me, but I also don't like the, easiest dub. Everybody's been saying that easiest dub. Yeah, it was easy, but man, like I did 8 weeks of hard dieting, hard training, and then the weight cut. I'm sure Governor also sent you the video of that the
Oh
weight
yeah,
cut,
yeah, he
like
did.
the weight cut itself it's a fight before the fight, so it's like, and to have all that strip uh at the 11th hour to not like have anything to show for it is kind of like it's kind of hollow. It's a hollow victory for me. And but it is what it is. On to the next one. I'm just, now I'm nice and light for the next one. So if Fury FC, I know they have a whole bunch of shows coming up in Houston. So if it's a last minute replacement, I'm down for that too. And then they're coming back in March in San Antonio, maybe after this, who knows,
Mm. I saw a lot of your fans. You had a lot of fans after the fight, man. Everybody was celebrating you. How did you even celebrate, or like, what did you do after the fight?
it was kind of like a joking half-ass celebration. It's like after the fight, obviously, like I didn't feel like going out and getting drinks because like you want to earn that like celebration and that praise and that, and I didn't feel like I won it, but like I'm gonna like I am like just like this. I don't take much seriously. So like I was kind of raising my hands, like, being a jerk and being a dick. But like all the fans were just like, because like if you ask them, it's like if you were to guess anybody that for that to happen to, like if the craziness of that, they'd be like, yeah, probably that would have probably happened to Patty. I'm like, I don't know what it is. Like it's just this craziness attracts me, or I attract the craziness either way.
Hmm. Do you feel like this altercation with him jumping out of a cage? Obviously, this fight got moved to the post limbs like at the last minute. Do you think it would have happened if it was on the prelims?
Well, maybe, maybe not, I mean, I'm sure the alcohol was a little bit more,
Yeah.
flowing at that point. So, probably not, but it's it's crazy. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, people the passions run hot, when you're talking about fighting and you got, loved ones. It's a very intimate thing, that's the last line, it's like I can't beat you in an argument. Let's just take it outside and fight about it. Like that's the last line. Anything over that is just grab your gun. And coincidentally, like 3 days ago, somebody got shot at Cowboys. So Texas is the Wild West, brother. We don't play games out here in Texas.
Yeah, man. I'm near. I'm like 1 hour north of Dallas. What part of Texas are you from?
I live in San Antonio, so
Awesome, dude. Are you gonna be at UFC San Antonio come March?
if I'm not on the Fury card, I'll probably be at the UFC San Antonio. I
Cool,
would
man.
like to be.
Yeah, I'll see you there. I think I'll probably get media credentials for that. But yeah, love to talk to you. Also, what's it like having the name Paddy Ferguson? I saw a lot of people pointing it out in the comments, like Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson. What's it like having that name, man?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of him. Well, Tony's Mexican and Patty's English, but I'm like Irish. My family's Irish, so it's like I can't think of any more of an Irish name. But then you got Tony Ferguson, and like I don't know how you make those comparisons. I get like, yeah, it's the same, but it's like, I mean, I guess I don't get as fat as Tony or as Patty Pimblett, right after. I think at this point of the fight week, Patty would be 185. I'm still sitting at a cool 142, which is nice.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. How many fights would you like to get this year? Obviously, things didn't go. Things didn't start off the right way. But how many fights would you like to get in 2023?
I mean, I would like to get like 4 or 5. I have no, again, like I said, I train 365. So if I could get as many fights as they'll allow, I'll do that. I really don't have a problem with, if you look at who I've fought nobody outside of the top 10 in their state, even at bantamweight. And one guy, the featherweight guy that I fought was ranked like 8 at featherweight in Texas. So it's like, I don't care who I fight. I just want to get as many fights as I can. Because like I said, like my goal is not to be a Fury champ or anything. Like I love the organization, but Eric does know it's a stepping stone for the UFC. He wants to see his fighters in the UFC, and I want to be in the UFC because that's the Premier League, and I want to showcase that all the hard work that I've put in, for my lifetime. I want to show that. Hopefully, I could go viral for my talents and not somebody else screwing up next time.
For sure. Hey, man, I hope it gets featured on Sports Center because that's a lot of exposure for you.
That would be great. I do need the exposure.
Well, Patty, I think that's all the questions I have for you today. I just want to thank you again for the time. Exclusive. I appreciate you coming one day after the fights. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans out there watching?
I just, I do apologize for all the chaos that is not every single, Fury fight card. That might be indicative of San Antonio, but hey, we're gonna change venues. Also, I want to give a shout out to Hero Sports. It's a veteran organization that helps out veterans, doing all those outdoor things that they like to do. I had them out there for my fight. Unfortunately, I didn't get to fight, but hey, they had fun. But I'm always giving back. Just because the war's over doesn't mean their fight's over. So we got to still look out for our veterans.